Hello and welcome to Lootrion, a TTRPG companion app that lets GMs create campaigns and players interact with them. My goal with Lootrion was to create a video game-like experience that would mimic the countless hours I used to spend in RPG character and inventory menus. I'm a huge fan of pen and paper. My weekly sessions of Dungeons & Dragons are run in person, and when it comes to digital tools, I mostly only use them for music, sound effects, or the occasional battle map. For the past year, I was, however, intrigued by an idea of creating an app that would enable GMs and players to engage with the world we've built on their own time, in between sessions. I knew that the real magic of TTRPGs happens during sessions, so the app shouldn't get in the way of that. I started thinking of fun ways to give this to players and GMs. The first thing I thought of was an inventory management in the vein of classic RPG video games. This would give players the possibility to manage items their characters possess in a fun way. At least for me, that was always fun to do in video games when I was young. Once that was achieved, I got the idea to let GMs create shops where players could buy and sell their items. Shops, of course, should have the option to be restocked, and items in them should have a chance of appearing. I tied the whole system to real-life intervals, so a GM could keep their players engaged throughout the week and until the next session. Because players wouldn't know what might be available at the next restock in the shop, it would always be fun to check once in a while. The idea was simple. The GM creates a campaign, and inside the campaign, marketplaces, which could be towns or villages or entire continents for that matter. Inside those marketplaces, the GM creates shops and populates them with items. The players create their characters inside the campaign, who can then visit these marketplaces and shops and buy and sell items. The GM can set whether or not a marketplace or shop can be visited depending on where the last session left off. Or he or she can even restrict access to shops to certain characters based on some of their characteristics. An example would be a Thieves Guild shop, only the rogue character can see and visit. The GM could also set a modifier for the buying and selling items, so shops can have different purposes. I also added a special offer feature where items can be selected that will have different buying modifiers. This means that a shop could offer more gold for certain items, making the shop even more unique. I then added rumors to marketplaces where players could learn tidbits of information about the location they are currently in. An example would be that rumors say that a certain shop will pay more for healing potions than any other shop in town. I also added a quest feature to marketplaces, where GMs could create small visual novel-style quests which reward either items or currency. These quests are just small branching paths that could also be used for world building. I created one foraging quest, for example, in which the chances for success are higher for the ranger in the party. The marketplaces also have an about section where GMs can write out some lore about the location for further world building. Once marketplaces were set up, I realized that GMs might want to create their own custom items, so I created that option too. Since Lootrion is system agnostic, I decided to give the GM the possibility to create custom items with custom properties. In D&D, that would be, for example, type, rarity, damage if it's a weapon, and so on. Once I finished that, I had to give GMs a chance to add characters to their campaigns. I decided to do that by an invite link the GM could generate and send to their players. I also gave the GM the possibilities to send currency and items to players, and to make notes about players that he can look up on his site. Once that was done, I decided that the same principle should also be used to create NPCs the GM can control. This led to integrating visibility to characters, so the GM could decide which characters can be seen by the others in the party based on the current state of the campaign. Once that was done, I found it tiresome to send one item at a time, so I decided to create loot packets, which could contain collections of items and currency that could be sent in bulk to players. Populating shops and these loot packets one item at a time was also an issue for me, so I created item tables, which could randomly populate shops and loot packets from a predefined list of items. I'm also a big fan of crafting mechanics in games, so I decided to create this feature too. GMs can define recipes that they can teach to characters, so they can craft their own items if they have the ingredients for them. I also decided to make it possible for the GM to create shop and quest templates so they could be used across multiple different marketplaces without the need of creating them from scratch every time. The last thing I added to the GM side of things was a small and simple campaign note feature, where GMs could share notes about the campaign. I use it for small summaries of the last session. On the player's side of things, I created an inventory system where the character's items could be managed and categorized, consumed or equipped or even tossed away. And again, since Lootrion is system agnostic, none of this is tied to mechanics calculated in the app itself. Since the main idea for Lootrion was visiting the GM's creations in the campaign, the marketplace feature does exactly that. The character can visit the visible marketplace, and inside them they can visit shops or do quests. I realized there was a need during buying and selling items in shops to give characters the option to trade items from their inventory as well, so I integrated that feature too. I really love these kinds of mechanics in video games, but I realize they are not for everyone. Once a loot packet is received by a character, the character can open it and take the items they like, or just take them all, which will transfer the items to their inventories. Crafting shows the characters known recipes from where they can craft items. I also added a journal feature where players can write down a journal of their character. They can write down stats or notes about the character's abilities for quick reference, and they can read the GM's campaign notes from here as well. If the GM has enabled businesses for the campaign, then the business feature enables players to create their own business. These businesses can create a profit stream which can generate currency over time for the character to collect. Businesses can also be used by characters to try to acquire items over time, and they can even be used by players to stock the shelves with items from their own inventory to be sold over time. All these functionalities are governed by a skill tree and by 10 properties the character can invest in to level up their business. Characters can also interact with each other through the party feature. They can send currency or items to each other, or they can visit others' businesses and buy items from the shelves. Of course, this is just an overview of the main features of Lootrion. I'm working on improving them by tightening the logic, integrating better user experiences in the front end, commissioning local artists for item art to replace the current placeholder art, getting rid of bugs, and supporting my current user base of roughly 100 users. I'm planning to release more in-depth tutorials and tips on how certain features can be used. Unfortunately, because of the nature of Lootrion being an interactive cloud-based app, an account is necessary for it to function as intended. If you have questions and suggestions, please comment down below. If you don't see a need for this kind of app, that's also fine, I completely understand. I've been using it and trying it out with my players for the past 2 months or so, and I'm still figuring out new fun use cases for it. Lootrion is a passion project of mine. I learned a lot while making it, and I have a lot of fun developing it further, so any constructive input is highly appreciated. You can try it yourself at lootrion.com. If you are interested in helping me make Lootrion 100% human, you can send me a message at artist@lootrion.com. And yeah, thanks for watching, I guess.